If you would all stand with me and recite the Pledge of Allegiance, we will get started. I pledge allegiance
The
to
flag
the
of
flag
the
of
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
for all. I always add for those that can afford it. Anyway, okay, now we have the next thing we do is we recite the four-way test. So rather than call on somebody to read it off our banner, which we don't have, I will read it off my little banner that I have at the end of my my room here. Okay, Rotary has a four-way test of the things we think, say, and do. Number one, is it the truth?
Is it the truth?
Second,
Is it fair to all concerned?
third,
Will it build goodwill and better friendship?
friendships? And fourth, will it be beneficial?
To all concerned?
So anyway, that if we try to think about those things, we are a lot less careless in our speech. And sometimes we have to remind each other that we've screwed up somehow. But in any event, since none of us are politicians, it should be much easier. Okay, now, Ruben, I'm sure you have some announcements about our speakers coming up.
Oh, yes. So next week, directly from the Musical Instrument Museum, we have coming to us a program, and they're in Phoenix. On December 3rd, Students of the Quarter, Mark Elliott's going to be doing that, and the Red Cross will be back on December 17th with a program on disaster preparedness.
Nice. Those are some interesting programs. All right. Does anyone else have any announcements?
I'd like to say
Lane.
just mention a couple things coming up. I sent them to you, Fred. One is it was kind of November activities coming up. There's three things coming up. There's the first one is the Rotary Foundation evening, where you can link in at 5:30 on November the 6th. It will take a donation of a minimum of $10 to participate, because it is instead of our foundation dinner for the district. But we'd love everybody to be a part of it. And we want to thank you, anybody that's become part of the Paul Harris Society Plus. The other thing that's going to be happening is you'll see that there's a flyer that Fred can forward to you, which is participating in a worldwide thing called Rotary Gratitude for our first responders and other people that have helped in the COVID. And that's November 14th to the 22nd. And anything that a club does during that period that you'd like to share, you can send in the district and it'll be taken care of. And then, of course, coming up also on the 14th or 13th, 14th, 15th is the Institute with some wonderful speakers that you can link into through Rotary5320.org. if you'd like to be part of the Institute and actually watch our governor take office for this year, which is Siska will be accepting as our governor after she does a week of training online. So that's what's happening in November, quite a bit. Anybody's welcome to join us on Zoom for any of that.
Great. Thank you, Lane. Okay, any other announcements? Okay, Gary, I think is moving what, the 8th or 9th of November?
Yeah, something like that. The moving truck's supposed to show up on the 8th. Hopefully it does. And then we start unpacking on the 10th of November. We've sold the house here, and so that's our move out date.
But you're going to still be able to participate in our Zoom meetings, right? From Idaho.
I plan to, yes, at least until the end of the year.
give us the end, give us the weather reports. That'll be nice.
Yeah, it was 18 degrees.
Below.
We were there on Sunday until yesterday, and it was 18 degrees on Sunday.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I close escrow on a house that I am purchasing in Marin County on Monday, I think, maybe Tuesday. It's been a nightmare with the bank. 10 days of, we need just one more piece of information, Mr. Anderson. Just a copy of the Thursday afternoon spreadsheet from your account over here at East whatever bank. Anyway, it's been a nightmare. So Dave Smith, do you have any announcements?
We can't hear you, Dave. Hang on a second.
Even better.
Yeah.
Roger's muted. Roger, do you have anything that you want to tell us while Dave's? No? Okay. Carl?
I'm live. I don't have anything, but it's good to see Pete in the Historical Society. Really
Yeah,
is.
it is.
Hey, ask him, where in Marin County? I lived there. My dad was Air Force. We were up in the Marin County. Where's the property you're looking at?
Nevada's just north of San Rafael.
Oh yeah, I went to San Rafael High School. We lived in Nevada.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
No, no. Well, this is out on Vineyard, out in the Vineyard. It's on Vineyard, the street called Vineyard.
I'm 76, and I was like, you do the math. I'm like 14. Oh no, more. Yeah, about 14 we were there. So it's a little tiny community. And it's
Well, it's bigger now.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're not moving. We're not moving for months. The last time we moved, it took us 4 years to pack. So
beautiful area. Absolutely beautiful.
They had a statue of Pete at the school, but they had to take it down.
Is that what it is? Yeah.
all right. Hearing no more announcements and not seeing Lori, I don't think there are any more announcements. So I will turn it over to Richard, who will introduce our guest speaker for the day. Richard, take it away.
Thank you. So from the Tustin Area Historical Society, if you gentlemen could raise your hands when I say your name, we have Pete. That's Pete over there in the blue, and Steve. And in the back is Brady.
Kurt.
Oh.
Kurt. Yeah,
I'm
Brady.
sorry. Okay, Kurt.
No.
Very good, gentlemen. Thank you for participating, and the floor is yours.
Hopefully this will be one of many of what we're doing, because this is the dream that I had to have more of this. I'm the tech guy basically here and set up a lot of the stuff for get people to set it up. So what I'd like to do is basically, we met Kurt Besberg and Steve Sowers. And Steve, like I say, he's been here, family's been here, not, his family since the late 1800s. He grew up here, so did Kurt. They went to school here. So we have a real rich group of people. Go-tillers. Very quickly, and I'll have to read my own notes here to let you know what's going on. 40 years ago, they established the beginnings of this museum because of the bicentennial. They started in 1974 to get it together, and they started to get more and more things. The street here in the police department had moved, so they gave a space at the police department in 1975. In 1976, the celebration, they basically had it open for people to see. And according to the person who was Vivian Owens, who started it, it was in one of the jail cells. So it was kind of ironic. But when they decided to tear down the police department, the police building they had there, they asked the Nice Epiphanius if they could store stuff here, which they did. And then a year later, this location here became available and they moved in. So in a sense, even though it says 1975, that's when they officially opened. It didn't happen until about 1979. And they moved in the fire truck. It was on loan from the city, perpetual loan. They support us here. Plus we have other events that we do to bring in money. And now at this point, we have to go for grants because nobody's open and you can't do events. Very quickly, again, we met on a board meeting, and our treasurer, Kurt, said, we're building a nest of money that was started back in 1990, or not, I'm sorry, in 1976. And that money was supposed to be used to buy a house someplace. Well, the amount of money we had would be allowed to try to do that. So
Have we been there?
we got, can you hear us? So we got together, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, we got together and voted on whether we wanted to either change the museum a little bit or do the whole thing. And everybody raised their hand and said, let's go out for funding and let's see if we can't change everything. And that was about 1.5 years ago. So thanks to Kurt, he's a retired IRS guy, so he kind of knows the rules. So we went with that, and it was lucky we had Steve Sowers, who basically has done many, many things in his life. One of the things he really does well is build stuff. And so we had the perfect scenario. Anyway, I'll let Kurt, you want to speak about what you did as far as financing and stuff and how that happened?
Well, it was a combination of several things. We had a group all together, and I put together a lot of different budgets, the timeline to make sure that the money that we had saved up over the years would be used most efficiently and effectively. In the meantime, all of us, we visited the other museums in the local area here to see what they had in particular. And that was the start of it, to where we had to set out the timeline, the budget. And even though our timeline, we sped it up by 3 months because of COVID-19. So we originally planned for May after our home tour, but that was canceled. So we actually started in March. And so, of course, we followed the timeline and we went through, thanks to a lot with Steve and with the vendors. And we've actually, everything has been redone, from the floors to the ceilings to the lights. A lot of the electrical panels here, and now we have a beautiful, beautiful renovated historical society. But it took a conglomeration of all of us together, Steve, myself, Pete, and many others. Brady who also helped, who's not here with us today. But all of us together, we combined together to do a good job. And if you're in the local area, come on down.
Yeah, and Steve, you want to add in, he was basically, real quick, Steve was the key person here. He worked with vendors doing stuff, and he had friends and people that he'd contact who were like the top of their trade, like plumbing people and electricians. But anyway, let him explain how he did put this together.
We're not moving, guys. Yeah, we're not moving.
Yeah.
The first thing we had to do was to empty out what was in here. So we took everything out of the museum except the fire truck because we can't get it out of here. Everything else went into storage or down into the basement. And first thing we did was have the electrician come in, and we changed out all our lighting to new LED lighting. So it's much brighter in here and more energy efficient. Then we had the painters come in, repainted the entire place white instead of the 1970s earth tone browns that it was, which was very dark compared to what we have now. And then we had a crew come in, and they sanded down and restained our 100-year-old floors, and they came out absolutely beautiful. So that was getting the building ready. Then we started slowly bringing stuff back in, or quickly bringing stuff in. It kind of got accelerated. And then we had to lay it out and figure out where we were going to put everything. That was a team effort. I had Pete, Kurt, Al Corfield was kind of head of the committee, so he designed the layout. And then between he and I, we placed everything, hung everything on the walls. And the partitions that we built one, we purchased some, and so we put in some dividers to give us more wall space and to separate out our areas. So if you come in, when you can start at the front, it starts with the prehistoric fossils that have been found in the area, and it tells a story and the history of Tustin and the businesses and the early pioneers. So then on around the corner, in the back corner, is the police and fire display. We've done something that I don't think very many small town museums do, is we have one area that highlights the athletes that grew up in the Tustin area, may or may not have gone to Tustin High School or Foothill or Beckman, but they lived in the area. Most of them did go to the schools, that went on to be, NFL, Major League Baseball players, athletes that went to the Olympics. We've got a real nice slideshow that's honoring all those athletes. And we just brought in a display Tuesday Frosty Rucker, who graduated from Tustin High in 2001, played in the NFL for 13 or 14 years. He's now retired. He brought in a helmet, a jersey, some cleats. He played at Tustin High, USC. Then he went on to the Bengals, and then he played also for the Cardinals in Arizona. And his last year, he played for the Raiders. So he brought in some memorabilia for us to loan to us to put on display. So if you come in, you can see that. And we also have a display that shows the hangers, the blimp hangers, and what that's all about, because a lot of people don't even know what those huge buildings were for. So we've got a full display, digitally done slideshow to show that. So we're all pretty proud of what we've got here now. We are officially open, following the guidelines, masks, social distancing. We've got our hand sanitizer thing hanging on the wall. So we're welcoming people in, and we're getting a lot of response. People that really like what they see, especially people that have been here before and thought, well, it was kind of dark and gloomy, and
It's real bright now.
it's very bright in here now, as you can see the light and the walls behind us.
And by the way, because we're getting in professional athletes, and I just want to say, one of our members, Al Corfield, basically started out putting pictures of athletes, which I put out in the window, and I'd get all these people would stop and go, they'd be pointing. So I'd go out in front and go, do you know these guys? Oh yeah, I talked to him last week and I talked to him yesterday. This is a real tight community with athletes. Kurt is friends with a few of them, which was nice. So he implemented the football, but I'm also got Johnny Johnson. Everybody know who Johnny Johnson is? You ever heard of him? Okay,
Remember.
yeah, he's probably taught your kids how to swim. Okay,
Blue boy.
the blue boy. Yeah, and what I've asked him to be, other coaches to be a steering committee for us in here to recommend different athletes and stuff. So Johnny was the first one to join. We're getting other retired coaches involved, and that'll be kind of an interesting thing. What I do want to point out with that sports area is that it'll be for all sports, just not football. It'll be swimming, basketball, baseball, whatever. That'll be changing up. But up at the top, we have a 24/7 video that goes on, and it's also backed up in our back area, which has a server and a Synology box that basically backs up everything, including our software for the museum. We have 12 terabyte back there, dual screens, Wi-Fi, and all these other stuff that you see up here. All these are computers. They can do. We can put on anything on there, either PowerPoint or video in every area.
You can see the monitor behind me, just about half of it. It keeps changing. That's one of 3 that we have on slideshows going on all the time.
And what you're looking at now, what we're looking into is a table that has an up and down where you can put the computer, lower, upper, higher. We can move it around. We have a camera that's telescoped. I talked to Mark Elliott in the beginning, and I said, let's start, and he's one of you guys. I said, we would like to start a video in each one of the areas for the 3rd grade since they can't come in here. Steve's been doing all the videoing. We're working with 2 retired 3rd grade school teachers. And as soon as that gets done, we'll use this method to go back to the teachers if they have any questions and answers. So we can have, like I say, we can have somebody from the fire department, somebody that's into history in different one area, and even the 3rd grade teachers that did the video. So we're gearing up for the technology part of this society today. But I will tell you guys, I've been talking to teachers, and kids are kind of tired of doing Zoom. They want to be back in school. They really do.
Don't blame them.
And yeah, and so do the teachers. Any questions that you guys have? You may not have the answer. But
We'll make them up. No, we'll find out.
Yeah. Oh, one other thing too. We're putting together a store. In fact, this computer is back in that store area right now. And another thing that's going to make us different. I don't know if you know Guy Ball. You ever heard of him? He's written a book, and he's also a historian and our IT guy. I called him last night. I said, listen, we want to put in a cabinet. There's a beautiful cabinet up in the store area, antiques. And he said, well, I just happen to have 100 cameras that I'd like to sell. So we're going to try to bring in collections from time to time, so on different items. So that I don't know any museum that sells antiques. And we're gonna start doing that. So it's gonna be a different twist. So anyway, questions down?
Guess we answered all.
We
our
covered it
questions.
all. We'll show up at the copy thing on Tuesday.
Or come down to the museum. We're open Tuesdays, Thursdays, and from 9 to 2, and Saturdays from noon to 3, give or take a little. So you're welcome to come down and check it out. We do wear masks when people are in here. The tours are usually free. You know, you guys, we may charge a little just because, but you know, you know, it's a free tour. You're welcome to come down if you've got kids or little grandkids. They love the fire truck, so they're welcome to come down in. And much to the chagrin of a few people, we do let the kids sit on the fire truck. Great photo op. The parents always seem to love it. So you're welcome to do that. So come on down and visit us.
In fact, we're getting more and more of those photo ops sort of things. Yesterday, we were closed. I was down there doing some stuff and a family came up and looked in and I opened the door and brought him back to the back. This little 3-year-old sat on the truck. You should have seen the look on his face. I mean, it's you can't describe it.
Yeah.
So what we try to do is be family friendly all the way around. So I guess that's about all we've got.
That's all I've got, unless you guys have any comments or questions about anything.
Yeah, so I have a question if I can. Were you guys around when Huell Hauser came out and did one of his programs, and what was that like?
I wasn't, you weren't here.
No.
No, I don't think any of us were here at the time, but I talked to Linda Jennings, who kind of led him around town and did the tour. She had some interesting stories about Huell Hauser, but it was great to have him come and do that. And every time that shows on TV, we get people come down because they want to check out the museum. So, but I guess he was very friendly. She said his accent got stronger when they turned the camera on. But other than that, I think they did a good job talking about Old Town Tustin.
What we have a gentleman called Ivan Bishop, who's the commander of Post 227 American Legion. And he's got him down to a T. He does all our videos, all these oral histories. And if you go to tustinvideos.com, it'll be directed towards, it's one of in the internet business, and that'll direct you to the YouTube videos. And you'll see different people doing the oral histories, quite a few interesting people. Tony Coco's there. He had so much to say. I don't know if you guys know he was a former mayor. And the street out here used to be called D Street. He renamed it El Camino Real, which is what it is. It is the King's Road. He has a three-part. Was it?
It's still D Street to me.
Yeah, it's still D Street to the old timers.
Yeah.
But if you go to tustinvideos.com, or you can even go to YouTube and just put in
Tustin Area
Tustin Area Historical Society.
Can I interrupt for just a moment here, Pete?
Yeah, go ahead.
Back to your question about Huell Hauser. We may not have met him personally, but like right across the street from us, which is part of the Huell Hauser, they had Mrs. B's, which they just recently closed. And the original Mrs. B, actually she lives on my street. So when they interview Mrs. B and her daughter Tiffany, which is, we spent a lot of time with Tiffany. And when I look back at the film, when I see it, she looks like such a little girl. I mean, now she's a grown woman. Here it is 20 years later. But we all know people who were in that particular production, including Mrs. B and her daughter, Tiffany. Good question.
All right, I know you were waiting on that. Thank you. Have a good day.
Any other questions?
We left you speechless, I can tell.
I'd like to know a little bit about the founding of the city of Tustin. I've heard bits and snatches over the years, but never
The founding of it, exactly.
Yeah.
He was Columbus Tustin came from Philadelphia, came out here. He was actually up in Northern California for a while and bought property down here. Steve might know more about it.
What he did, he came down he and a gentleman named Stafford both came down from Petaluma. Columbus Tustin was a carriage builder by trade, came down here, they bought some land from, it was originally part of the Yorba Rancho land, and they bought 1,359 acres, which they divided. Part of it became part of Santa Ana. The other part of it became what is now Tustin. And Columbus Tustin started offering up land to people if they come in and give them land, if they built houses and moved down here. And in 1870, the city was founded. He laid it out. We've got all the maps that show how it was originally laid out. But this land was originally part of the Yorba and Peralta Rancho land originally. So yeah, we've got a lot of history on the walls that tells the entire story. But I don't know if that helps answer your question, but that's how the city got started.
Well, they incorporated, and this building was here. So they didn't have any place to meet. So they met upstairs in 1925. They met up there, the city council met up there.
Yeah,
for a couple of years until they had their own place. So this building itself has a tremendous amount of history. And what we're trying to do is trying to get the word out in different ways through multimedia and different things. And also the coffee thing I want to get. And we also try to get a lot of younger kids and families, because that's really what the future is they need to know about not only about Tustin history, but also about the Spaniards that were here 150 years before the Mexico came up here. There's a rich history, huge. And by the way, the Yorbas are still around. When I had an event down at the hangars, about 3,000 people showed up about 5 years ago. There was a Jeep that was sitting in the middle that we allowed in. You had to let all the gas almost out. But then there's a guy standing next to it with a World War II Jeep, and he had a World War II, I think it was a captain's uniform. And I said, this is a beautiful piece of equipment. And he said, yeah, I've been a bunch of them. I go, really? I said, what do you do? He goes, well, I watch the family property. And I said, what family property? He says, Yorba. I'm a Yorba. And I went, you guys didn't just sell the land and move away. He said, no, we still have a lot of land. And then I joined the Orange County Historical Society. And man, there was a bunch of Yorbas and married into Yorbas. So there's a rich history here before Tustin came. And I think I'd like that to be known. And there's more Hispanic people here that come in. It's there. 30% Orange County is Hispanic. So I'd like to blend all the knowledge. In fact, Vivian Owen, who started here, I did an oral history on her. One thing she had said to me previously was that I'd like this museum to be a center for education for people to come in and learn about history. She really had history in her heart. And we're trying to do that. We also have a unit that was donated by Donna Marsh Perry. Donna Perry, probably a lot of you know her. Her father passed away recently. He was a World War II veteran and hero. And he had 2 units. One, you could scan a book and then it would talk to you. It was something he used because he was losing his eyesight, and he'd get an email and put the email in, and it would scan it and read it back to him. And also another unit that takes the font size for a book that you lay out, and you can move it bigger. So we're going, I don't think Vivian thought about the visually impaired or the blind, but I am. And I'm trying to, and also if you look around here, it's wheelchair. You can work all over.
Accessible.
Yeah, accessible. The only thing we don't have is a bathroom, and they can use next door. So they have one that's wheelchair. But anyway, we're all proud of working together. And it was a silver lining, guys. There's so many people prior to the virus that were all ready to go, and they had different situations, they had diabetes or whatever, and they had to back off. There was literally about 5 of us plus family that Brady's family, Brady came in, Kurt's family came in, and we ripped everything out and stored stuff, a lot of stuff down in the basement. I don't know if you know, you guys, we have a basement downstairs. Right now, it's still recovering from the changes because everything was dumped down there. So that has to be cleaned out. But we have a computer downstairs that connects to our Past Perfect software. And like I said, we have 12 terabytes of memory. And also it boots to my house. I have another unit there that also backs up. So your history for Tustin is being backed up forward ways. So
So did we answer the question the original question about the history of how it started.
Yes, you did, and thank you. Is there a way Rotary could become more involved with the Tustin Historical Society?
One of the things that we do, we offer like a business membership. It's $100 a year, which will allow us or will have us send out any information about what we have going on. We're looking for volunteers. If any of you guys, when you feel comfortable coming out, want to come down, we're looking for docents or greeters to just sit and talk to people. If you like to talk to people, that's why Pete's here, because he likes to talk.
Yeah,
to
I'm
people.
Irish.
He's Irish,
Yeah.
but that's all right. I'm German, so we get along sometimes. But you know, you can get involved by coming down and volunteering. We're always looking for more volunteers because we would like to be open more often, but if we don't have the people to staff it, we can't run it, 6 days a week by ourselves.
Yeah, I'm gonna be every Saturday. I've dedicated Saturdays this next year to get it going, so I'll be down here every Saturday. We're open first and third Saturdays, but I'll be down here every Saturday. So, question, do you have a fund thing for something that you donate to? I know some people do for the blind, and I'm gonna be approaching them to help us to get the word out that we have this equipment. And I have the lady that the manufacturers in Huntington Beach. She's gonna be coming in and meeting with me to see if we can update what we have and maybe get the word out to the people. I know people that won't come to the museum because they can't read anything. I mean, that's sad. And so if we can use a QR code and use our Wi-Fi to be able to go on their handhelds and to talk to them what's on that wall. I mean, there's a lot of things we can do. What do you guys, what kind of support? Is there any particular group that you support as a group?
Rotary supports a lot of business, a lot of local activities. We're involved in the city of Tustin, a number of activities in the city of Tustin, like Dinosaur Dash and the Chili Cook-Off and Broadway in the Park and those kind of things. We're also very involved with the school district, and we help out with a lot of different school activities. The superintendent and the media mogul of the Tustin school district are members of the local Rotary. And in fact, maybe somebody in the Historical Society should join our Rotary group and become involved, because we do a lot of things in the city of Tustin. I mean, you guys are an integral part of the city of Tustin. Some would say the foundation.
Yeah, we need somebody that we can liaison between the two organizations.
One of the things, I'm sorry.
So we can know what what we're all doing and work together as a team, because that's what it takes to.
Johnny Johnson, of course, is a member of Rotary because he recruits all our kids and teaches them how to swim.
Yeah.
When I came back to Tustin a couple of years ago, I'd moved away for 12 years. When I came back to Tustin and became involved in Rotary, I said, Johnny Johnson, Blue Boy Swim School. Crap, all my kids learned to swim there.
Yeah.
And I dug out some old pictures and showed them to Johnny. He says, oh yeah, that's the Schwery kids. I remember them. They're down Newport Beach. And, but anyway, we'd love to have, we do give money to local 501c3s, and we could be a sponsor of the, sponsor some activities or provide some money to the Historical Society, and that would be somehow we could get participated. We could participate in your organization.
Another thing that we do too, we have a scholarship for Evelyn Furch. She was a gold medalist in 1932. And she used to work at this museum, and she used to be the office manager. So we do, and it would be nice to have some more funding to open that up to more and have more money for kids. But also, I want to invite you into this. I used to put stuff out in the window. You might have seen the displays. I had the Girl Scouts in there. I had different nonprofits in there, and we had to move. We're going to move that, since we took part of it, one window for the store. We moved that stuff that was there over to the other side. So I don't have a window to display stuff, but inside, and you can probably see behind us where you can see that right in that area, I'm going to be putting people in, different nonprofits. And I invite you to be one of those people we can put in. We keep it in about anywhere from 2 to 4 months and try to connect it with a time when you guys started, the history part of it. I don't know when do anybody know the time you started, what year this group started in Tustin?
We started in Tustin. Well, our club is 100 years old.
Okay,
But we're kind of bootstrapped in with the Santa Ana Rotary was going under. So Santa Ana merged with Tustin.
okay,
Became the Tustin-Santa Ana Rotary. We
right.
started in 1920.
So any month, like January, February, March, because I can time these things with different, like for instance, the Girl Scouts, I had the Girl Scouts in here and I coordinated when it was Girl Scout week, that kind of stuff. So it becomes
Okay.
an extension of their already celebration. So
Right.
you'd have the showcase. If you have any stuff we can put up, PowerPoint, we can put up on the screen or a video. We can also use the board up there to put different information people could read and even handouts that they could have over there. So
The other thing, every year, except this year, we have our annual home and garden tour.
yeah,
And we do look for sponsors, underwriters to support that. And it's our main fundraiser, which we didn't have this year. So it kind of put a little dent in our finances. We've had some nice donations recently. We've applied for a grant, so it looks promising. My opinion is, you got the grant when the check's in your hand. You don't start spending it before that, because you never know what's going to happen. So there's a lot of ways that the Rotary Club can help support us in a small way or large ways, whatever you decide you want to do. But would like to talk about that a little more.
we can set up a meeting, we can get here and talk to our executive, group, talk about it, and come up with ideas. I like the fact that somebody would join your group. I think.
Well, and that goes the other way. One of you or all of you should be members of the Historical Society, individually, besides the local Rotary Club.
We're always looking for board members too, as well. So, but they should be in the history.
Every organization I belong to is looking for board members.
Well,
Now, you know what? Honestly, we're really,
You're right.
we're really picky. I mean, honest, that's part of the problem, probably. But
we're not that picky. We'll let Pete in.
where I'm sitting here, we've now gone to a term, and maybe we may change it as a greeter. Okay, they don't have to know anything about it because it's signs and they can read it. Usually it's something in the back to help, but just to have a physical body in the front. We're saying if you love history, you'd like to get out, come down to the museum, you can sit here, talk to people that come in, show them different areas. And if they get into something more complicated, there's somebody on the phone that can talk to them or somebody in the back. So, but you're right, everybody's looking for members.
Well, we've been very lucky this year with these Zoom meetings, and our program coordinator, Richard Rubin, with Cal Bank and Trust, has done a wonderful job of getting speakers and getting people from our community to talk to our group. And I get real excited when I see a group that is in Tustin and we're in Tustin, and I think that we should get together with the group that are in Tustin, and as the Tustin-Santa Ana Rotary, we need to get involved with these groups and try to get you guys involved with us. So I'm definitely going to put you on the next agenda. Feel free to join us. It's no problem. We welcome everybody.
I want to introduce my better half, Rachel Whistler.
Hi there.
And
Hi.
she's reporting secretary. And Donna, you want to promote her? Everybody know Donna?
Hi, Donna.
I think
She's
everybody knows
going to
Donna.
be the office manager. In fact, they're bringing in flowers for Barbara.
Hi, guys.
For Barbara, who's retiring today. So this is kind of a menace. So they're bringing back flowers to me. So,
Nice.
yeah.
Well, and I agree. We need to work together because we're all just trying to help people when they need help. And that's what we want to do, and keep teaching people about history of Tustin. Yeah, we don't want it to die out. So.
All right. Well, I'm going to send our membership chairman over there and strong arm somebody into joining, and I'm going to try to strong arm our group into joining your organization also, so that we are sponsors of your organization, and we become involved. And I think it's a good idea. So I'm
Yeah.
definitely going to bring that up at the next board meeting to all the board members who are here today.
Right.
So, you know, and it's really, I'm very interested in history. My mother traced my family history back to the 1400s, and
Sweet.
it's
So what are you? You're Irish, Scottish, English?
Scottish and English primarily, and also my dad, of course, is Swedish. But so, you know, I'm half Swedish, and then the rest half is kind of a mutts of Europe.
So I thought it was an Irishman, and I went back on my mother's side. It goes all the way back to 1300 Scotland. So I'm a goddamn Scot. I didn't realize it, but here I am.
Hey, I'm a Scottish Anderson, but my name is Sweden. My name came from Sweden. So my parents are from Swedish, but if you go back about 5 generations, we have a Scottish Anderson, and there's an Anderson.
You still have the accent, the Swedish accent.
Right. You betcha. Yeah, you betcha. Okay, well, listen, does anybody else have any questions? I don't mean to monopolize the questions, but I'm kind of excited about this stuff.
It's fun. You know, if it's not fun, don't do it. Honestly, I'm telling you. I love the city. I'm only here 20 years. I think you probably know I got Man of the Year about 5 years ago. And they basically tapped me on the shoulder and said, we're going to nominate you out. A couple of people nominated it. And I said, why? They said, well, you're doing so much for the city. I said, well, I'm doing it because I'm having fun. And that's most of the members that really didn't shoot to become Man or Woman of the Year. Just they were so involved with the city that they loved, they were recognized. And I'm very humbled for that. So, yeah.
Unfortunately, I've got to run. I'm still running a campaign. I'm running for the city council here. So thank you, gentlemen.
Okay.
Appreciate it here. I've got to run out. I don't mean to leave you in the leash here, but I think all the financial questions have been answered. And thank you. A good opportunity. And I like Rotary Club. I'm supportive of you. I think this is fantastic. Yeah. Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys. Have a good day.
Great, thank you. Okay.
Thanks, Kurt.
Now, does anybody else have any questions, or shall we call it, shall we gong the bell? Okay, seeing nobody that has any questions, I think our meeting has come to a conclusion. And if I had the bell here, I would gong it and say we're at an end. And we'll meet again next week, same bat time, same bat station, 12:15, give or take a few minutes, and next Thursday. So everybody stay safe and try to wear your masks and avoid people who are sick or ill or not wearing masks. Anyway.
Get out there and vote if you haven't yet.
Right. Vote early, vote often, Chicago style.
Oh, yeah.
Support your favorite candidate.
I voted for Eisenhower again. Just want to let you know.
There you go.
I love him. Yeah, I like Ike. So,
If you don't vote, don't complain about the outcome.
there you go.
Right.
By the way, if you've already voted and you want to change your vote, now that you've got all the information, you can do that by actually going out and voting on election day, and your latest vote is the one that they take.
Oh, California does that? I thought it was 5 other states. I didn't know if California did that.
So, 'cause I think a lot of people voted early and maybe are rethinking their vote.
I realized that Eisenhower can't really do much, so I figured I might have to be back.
Okay, look, this is a nonpartisan group, so I'm gonna call it over. And thank you, everybody. So let's see you all next week. Same bat time, same bat station. Goodbye. Hope you enjoyed your lunch that we provide every Thursday.
It was delicious.
Get your lunch. Well, sorry.
Okay.